Frequently asked questions on Cyprus non-domicile tax status. It affects international people who want to relocate to Cyprus and take advantage of the plethora of tax benefits. It applies and it's relevant to Greek people who want to relocate to Cyprus. And of course, it applies to Cypriots who have not been living in Cyprus and they will come to Cyprus for the first time after many years. So frequently asked questions. This video is in English because the majority of our clients who are interested in this topic are international investors, international businessmen. Okay. The most common question we get about the non-domicile tax status is whether or not the person needs to have a rental agreement or if they can reside to a hotel. Odysseus will text your question and I will answer it because I need to cover a big topic. Tag Vondo, welcome to our show. Thank you guys for listening. Now, this will be in English first, and if you have questions, type them in Greek or English, and I will, of course, answer. So, when you are applying for a non-domicile, it's a bit similar to the permanent residency certificate. You need to prove that you will be living in that country. So, the concept, the more, the merrier, is applicable, and whenever you're thinking whether or not you should do something, you should follow this principle. So, what's best? To rent a house for 12 months or to prove that I've been living in Airbnb or in hotels? Of course, it is best to rent a house when you will apply for a non-domicile application, and this will escort, the agreement will also escort the application. So this is one of the most common questions we get from the majority of the clients, especially from frequently travelers, because there are lots of people who fly a lot, who travel many countries, so they don't want to be committed to a house in Limassol, Nicosia, or in Paphos, but let's proceed with the second question. The second question is, of course, whether you are required. Let's proceed with the second question. The second question is, of course, whether you are required. Again, if you follow the principle that I told you, more is better, the more the merrier. Okay? So, if you are not the retiree, so if you are not 60 years old, who wants to come to Cyprus and reside, and maybe you're an investor or a wealthy individual who will be receiving dividends from anywhere in the world, okay, it is advisable to be employed by your Cyprus company. So this second point brings us to the ordinary and to the normal setup that we do for our non-domicile persons, which is no other, of course, than the creation of a Cyprus company, their employment under this Cyprus company, and of course all the profits that this company will make will be paid to the shareholders entirely tax-free. So the second most frequently asked question is whether or not you should be employed, and the answer is, if you are not a retiree, you should be, because you add substance to the argument. Now, since I'm talking about employment, I need to, of course, mention visas and immigration. If you're not an EU citizen, in order to be employed in Cyprus, you need to have a visa. So, in the majority of our time, my time personally, and one of my assistants, is, of course, to obtain visas for people from third countries. So if you're from London, if you're from Canada, if you're from the US, if you are from anywhere, if maybe you're from Africa, anywhere from outside of Europe, and you need to be employed, I'll make a parenthesis here, then you will need to have a serious visa. And the serious visa sometimes requires significant amount of money sitting in your bank or a significant investment in Cyprus. I'm not going to go into the details of the immigration aspect because we have all this information on our website, cyprusaccountants.com.cy. We are not immigration office. We are handling immigration on a weekly basis. We have our external advisors where we collaborate, but if you need to find your own immigration people and ask them, people that deal with this on a daily basis, of course we can help you, but if you want to find them, you can go to finhub.com.cy. I'm going to send you the link and you can find regulated immigration offices that can assist you. We do it as a side business because the majority of our clients who come to Cyprus, not from EU, they require advice on immigration. Now, since I've opened this topic on immigration, I need to say something to everyone. Now, I'm emphasizing to people from third countries, not Greek people, not European people. I'm going to touch base on that as well. People from third countries, their immigration solution is hand-to-hand relevant with the tax advisory. We're going to make another video. I've decided to make videos and call them Journey XYZ to maybe walk you through the experiences of many of our clients so that you will understand in detail what I'm talking about. Now I'm talking about the fact that if you are, for instance, a UK citizen, or if you are a Canadian citizen, or if you are a USA citizen and you want to relocate somewhere else, it's not a simple process. You need to prove that you have really relocated, you have really changed your tax residency, not to take advantage of lower taxes. And this is obtained by getting serious visas in Cyprus and of course by being employed in Cyprus. So we have lots of clients who require us to be employed by their Cyprus companies, even though it's not a key requirement for the non-domicile. Of course, if you do it, it's fine, it's great, and it's advisable, and I want you to be employed because you need to be paying taxes, some part of taxes here in Cyprus. But for third country nationals from high tax jurisdictions such as Canada, USA, UK, which are the jurisdictions, any other jurisdictions that is heavily regulated, they will require to see that you've also been employed somewhere else in order to remove you from their tax system and put you in the overseas tax payers. I close the parenthesis and I go back because I've talked a bit more about this issue, but it's very important for the third country nationals. If you're a Greek person or if you are a European, then of course you should be employed in your Cyprus company. You add substance. If you strongly object not to be employed, then maybe you will get the non-domicile certificate, but we don't do this, we rarely advise this, and you need to have serious reasons like being retiree or have other businesses here in Cyprus, because let's not forget the non-domicile tax status requires you that you conduct businesses from Cyprus or you are living in Cyprus. If you are, for instance, a retiree and you don't want to do any more business, you are living here. So I'm gonna let me text you the website I've just talked before I go into details about the yellow slip for people from Europe and for people from Greece. So if you want to find service providers, experts on immigration, and you don't take our word for it, because we deal with this every week now, you can find them here. It's free. You can check them out, and once you find someone who you like, you can engage with them. Okay. My comment was not posted. Why? Let me see. Community violation. I don't get it. Anyway, finhub.com.cy. So let's move on. If you are from Greece or if you are from Europe, we need to obtain for you a yellow slip and you can be employed easily anywhere. Europeans have the freedom to move in Europe and to work anywhere they feel like in Europe. Each country has their own criteria. In Cyprus, we call it a yellow slip. It's a relatively easy process to be obtained, and it's something standard that we do for all of our European clients. Again, if you are not European, then there are certain visas that you need to apply in order to be able to. Okay. If you want to be non-domiciled without being an employee of your company, it's easy and you have lots of choices. So even with the visitor's visa, you can be a non-domiciled. However, as I mentioned earlier on, and I want everyone to make sure that they understand this, if you're coming from the UK or from any other high tax jurisdiction which is very sophisticated, they will want to see evidence that not only you sold your property there, your primary residence there, but also that you are employed in Cyprus. And to prove this, you need to be employed. But to be employed, not all visas allow you to be employed in Cyprus. The BCS visa allows you, the digital nomad visa allows you, the high skilled workers visa allows you, and there on. However, these visas, give me a sec please. However, at the time that you need certain visas that might look great and suit your profile, they might not be available, or maybe the immigration stop examining them, or maybe there is a huge backlog. For instance, digital nomad visas has a ceiling each year and it's filled very frequently. Category F visas, I believe they stop examining for 2-3 years now. The BCS visa is something that we do and it's something that works and is there. Anyway, we're not going to talk about visas. We made other videos about visas. What I want to say is that immigration and taxation go hand in hand. And that's why, unfortunately, we had to get expertise into this field as well to satisfy our clients with their complex backgrounds and complex tax matters in order to find the right visa that would not jeopardize their tax planning that we do for them. Okay, I've seen many people that join. Thank you guys for joining. I cannot invite on the screen because I don't know what that means and if I'm going to get sidetracked. We have lots of things to talk about. A quick recap for everyone who just joined is Kyriakos, CyprusAccountants.com.cy. We relocate people every week or every 2 weeks from all over the world. Non-domicile is this live video. Please ask me any questions you have on non-domicile. What we typically do, we consult the client what is best for them, we find the right visa for them, we set up their company, their bank accounts, and we perform the accounting, audit, tax, and what have you. It's an A to Z service from the immigration until the submission of the audited financial statements. This is on the non-domicile tax status, which is the strongest card that Cyprus has right now, because when you are a non-domicile tax resident, so you are a Cypriot, a Cyprus tax resident, but you have not born here, you are entitled not to pay special defense tax, which makes your dividends tax-free as well as your interest. So, the first question that I get very frequently by many people is whether or not you need to rent. Through TikTok, we have many channels, TikTok, Ferbiano, I will tell you that TikTok actually now has the biggest reach out of all the social media platforms. That's why people like me are using it. So the first question is whether or not it was compulsory to rent. It's better to rent, and then of course the examiners love to see that you have committed in a rental rather than an Airbnb or hotel. This is the first one. The second question is about the payroll. I've talked about it extensively. Unless you are a retiree, most likely you have to. If you are a third country national, I think from a highly regulated country, you will have to, because you're going to have problems back home. And to do that, you need serious visas. If you are from countries that are not heavily regulated, maybe you do not have to. You can come here, be a non-domicile, live from dividends and other sources, and we can still get you the non-domicile. So, what is the most common setup for non-domicile applicants? Okay, this is a very nice frequently question which is asked to us. They come to Cyprus, the individuals, we get them a yellow slip if they are Europeans. If they are not Europeans, depending on whether they want to work or not, we get them the right visa, we create a company for them. We make them being an employees of the company. We adjust the salary so that they don't pay too many taxes. It's up to them to decide, because it's their own company, whether to receive the minimum, the maximum, or what size of salary they should be receiving. We apply for the non-dom. We get the non-dom within 3 months, which implies that all their dividends are tax-free, and thereon we do the accounting, audit, and tax. They need to stay in Cyprus 60 days and not live anywhere else more than 6 months. This is a common procedure. Now, if you are a retiree, so if you will retire to Cyprus, you don't need a company maybe, and you don't need to be an employee, but you need to prove that you're living here. So they will definitely ask you for bank statements to see that you're spending money in Cyprus, car rentals or ownership of a car, where do you live, telephone expenses, and what have you. So even if you are a retiree, if you are interested in becoming a non-dom, okay, then the CRS will answer you, Stavros, later on. If you are interested to become a non-dom, it means that you want to enjoy tax-free dividends. So the Income Tax Office, in the tax avoidance provisions, and because we are members of the EU, they will need to make sure that you actually live in Cyprus and you have not obtained a non-dom just to save taxes. Because of that, they will seek evidence that you have been living here in Cyprus. This is common. Okay. I am an investor. I do not want to become an employee of the company. I will be living from overseas and receive dividends from abroad. I've discussed this earlier on. This is covered. Is it complicated, hard to obtain the non-domicile status? If you are a European person, if you are a Greek person, if you are a German person, a Belgian person, anyone, a French person, it's very easy actually. I mean, almost all senior staff in our office now know how to do the form. It's a form, but it's the evidence as well, certain steps that we need to take to make sure that you will obtain it, and all our applications are 100% successful. Corinne, I might put you later on, the same with Plador Alexandrak. Later on I will invite you. We have lots to cover now, but please text me your questions. Is it worth relocating to Cyprus for the non-dom? Of course it is, because imagine that you're going to have a Cyprus company, you will be receiving a salary which will be taxed at the second lowest payroll tax in Europe, and all your dividends will be tax-free. So even anywhere you are in Europe, besides maybe Romania or Bulgaria, you will be paying significant amounts of payroll taxes as well as dividend taxes. By moving to Cyprus, I think you can save easily 20,000, 30,000 on living expenses, tax savings. Of course, Cyprus is a beautiful place to live. It's a big island. You will never get bored. And we have lots of literature about Cyprus. It's an amazing place. We have more than 100,000 people living in Cyprus. And you will be surprised to know that the majority of the people stay here. They don't leave. They don't leave. I mean, they stay forever. They make families. They don't. It's not a transport station. They come and they stay here all their lives. Okay. Let's see another question. Okay, the reverse of that question is, of course, if are all cases easy for the non-domicile? Again, I will tell you something. The more, the merrier, and you need to remember the discretion of the examiner. Like all immigration matters, is not black and white. Each person has their own background, their own documentation, their own circumstances. So we know before we apply whether the application will be successful or not. That's why we are 100% successful, because we will not apply if something will not go through, for many reasons. But this is not in our culture, and this is not how we operate generally as a business. So if you're an EU citizen, almost 99% of the cases is easy. You will get it, no questions asked, nice and easy. But if you're someone, if the 1% maybe is someone who doesn't want to rent a property, who doesn't want to be an employee of a company, who cannot prove or demonstrate that they're living here and they have ties to the island, I would expect the rejection, and this is something that the income tax will do. They will reject you. The more complicated cases, as I've mentioned earlier on, are cases from third countries, from non-EU nationals who may have tax requirements that may make their argument complicated. If they don't have tax requirements to satisfy back in their country where they will relocate from, then those cases are also easy, because with simple visas you can be non-domiciled in your Cyprus company and you can enjoy tax-free dividends. Okay, these are the frequently asked questions that we get, okay, for the non-dom. I'm going to say a small summary, and I'm going to go back to your comments. Ask me again if you have anything, because we're going to close this live video in 2-3 minutes. So the non-domicile is someone who is a Cyprus tax resident, but of special status. And he gets this special status because he was not born in Cyprus, or even if he was born in Cyprus, he was away for more than 17 years consecutively. So anyone who wants to relocate in Cyprus, they are eligible for the non-dom, even Cypriots if they've been living away for a long time. Now, non-domicile, to obtain it, it's a bit more tricky if you are from a third country and you need to be employed in Cyprus. If you don't need to be employed in Cyprus, then it's relatively okay. If you are a European and Greek, Spanish and French, it's no issue. We can get you the non-dom. Almost 100% of the cases. I mean, we haven't had a client who got rejected to date. So 100% success on our application. But I hear some prospect clients that were with other accountants and they failed, and I know why they failed, because of lack of adequate supporting information. So we know whether or not you will go and get the job done and whether you will not. And what I'm saying is that if you're a European, it's a walk in the park. Now, I've answered lots of frequently asked questions. You can find them on our website. We will publish them in a bit. And now I will go and see your questions and answer anything that's of value to the rest. Okay, just me. Yes, you need to pay. Yes, see the maximum. Yes, you will pay if you are earning 180,000. Total emoluments is less than 5,000. It's 4,800 something. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's good that we all pay ESE, which is the NHS, because it means we are entitled to free medical health care. We need to drink frappe because we are in Cyprus. We need to, it's good to have free medical health care. So we should embrace and support ESE actually. And we are even paying on each employee as an employer, as an employee of our own company. So the amount of ESE paid is significant. Let me start from the beginning. Let me start answering the first questions. We have some Greek friends. If you have any questions, let me know. Because we have quite a few non-DOMs from Greece as well. Odysseus Stavru, do you have any questions? Please type them. Ilias Iliopoulos, hello. Γεια σου Andrea, Vangelis. I'm here in Cyprus as a student from 2019 and from 2000 I'm here as work permit. If you are not a retiree, you need to do business in Cyprus. You need to prove that you will be making a business, a serious business to be accepted. So maybe you want to email me directly at kt@cyprusaccountants.com.cy if you intend to do any business in order to get the non-DOM. You need to have a Cyprus company, be shareholder, director, and what have you, and to conduct business. Otherwise, you will not be accepted.